everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk Ones and Zeros with myself, Snoop, Ben, and Jabid. Guys, how are you doing?
Good. Hoping that the excessive construction noises in my background doesn't pick up from my microphone, so please do let me know. But I've done all I can to block it out. Jabed?
Yeah, also good. Just hoping someone doesn't come in here with an emergency, but I'm yours for the next half hour.
Nice. And we're going to obviously, first of all, call out the name change. We've changed the name of the podcast. It was due for a change. And we're going to be talking ones and zeros now, pure binary.
Nice. Like it.
Yes, it's going to be good. Right, let's get started into it with the news that's happening in the tech world for the past week. I'm going to kick things off with the Outlook Lite app for Android, bringing Outlook to budget phones. I thought there was already an app for budget phones. What's going on here?
I didn't know there was a separate application for budget phones. I didn't know there was an Outlook budget app, but I'd assume it's just like a lighter application, right? Not as much draw performance wise.
Yeah.
What's the need for this? Do you know?
Well,
2G
there are
and
countries.
3G networks.
Well, yeah, it is ideal for 2G and 3G networks. There's a lot of countries in the world that are still not on 4G or 5G or make it a little bit unaffordable. But the only kicker about this is you can only add Microsoft accounts. But you cannot add Gmail or iCloud Mail or whatever mail that you're using. So I don't know, is Outlook that popular out there? I'm not too sure. I mean, I would have thought Gmail would have been a bigger thing. I mean, what are your guys' preference in terms of emails?
I prefer Outlook. I've always preferred the Outlook application, no matter what phone I'm on. But using an iPhone as a daily driver now, I tried to use the stock applications for everything. So Safari, Mail. It doesn't have nowhere near as much functionality. But again, I think we kind of touched on this last time we spoke. I'm really trying to cut the excessiveness out and have a simpler tech experience every day. Use a phone as a phone, open Mail app. It's very, very simple to look at. I find the Gmail application on Android and iOS is really not clunky, but there's too much in there. It's quite a distraction.
Yeah, I agree. It can be overwhelming looking. They've also updated the actual web app to look more like the phone app now, and I don't know how I feel about that change. I do miss the old web design.
Is that webmail, like Gmail web?
Gmail, yeah, the Gmail website.
Okay.
Yeah, it does look a lot more rounded and stuff. I did notice that the other day, so that is definitely interesting in that space. But I mean, I'm finding Outlook itself looks like more like the desktop Outlook app looks more like the web that you will see on the internet. So it's all changing about UI. I think UI changes are a big thing. But yeah, if anybody out there has a really budget phone and you've got some really poor network, maybe and use Outlook, it might be an idea to use this.
Shout out
Outlook.
to the people all on 3310s still, Nokia 3310s.
Oh yeah,
your luck's come in.
I actually have a Nokia 3310.
I wish I still had one.
I do love it. I do love it. Now, Ben, Meta, you want to tell everybody about this?
Big surprise. I haven't read the article on this. I'm not too up to date, but just looking at the headline there, everyone's going to be so surprised. There'll be audible gasps from anyone listening. We'll hear it, even though you haven't listened to the podcast yet. We'll still hear the gasp. Meta faces lawsuit for allegedly collecting patient health data without consent. Big surprise. Whoa.
No way.
I can't believe it. Not Meta, formerly known as Facebook. No way. They wouldn't do such a thing.
No.
What's the details on this?
Well, there obviously is some kind of lawsuit, but I don't understand where they're collecting healthcare data from. I mean, do they have a health app or do they have a wearable I don't know about?
Because maybe they're collecting heartbeats from the Oculus. I don't know. People's heartbeats playing horror games. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they have. I mean, from the last time I used Facebook was a very long time ago, or I should say Meta now. I don't remember there ever being a health portion at all? I don't.
No, I don't. But it's going to be interesting to see. They say shares medical info with Facebook through Pixel. Is that a Pixel phone? I'm not too sure. But either way, oh, hang on. Meta's Pixel Analytic Tracking Tool. Never heard of it. Is it just a tool that runs on our phones without us knowing?
Probably.
Oh wow, that's
Probably
even
just
more
like the old
egregious.
Messenger. Yeah, the old Messenger app that was just always constantly running and destroying your phone. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then again, for the users that are listening in, I think we need to kind of make it very clear that, whatever information that you have on your phone or digital items, you should really care about what you're sharing. You shouldn't just say allow to everything. So, and maybe we can have a podcast at one point talking about digital data. That might be something that we can cover a special podcast on. But I think in terms of what information we have on our device, what we have on our devices and what we share, I think we really need to start taking that seriously. But let's see what happens in that space. I'm sure there will be hit hard. So Logitech and Tencent are making a cloud gaming device.
Nice.
Javid, as you love to game, as well as the rest of us, what do you make of this one?
Honestly, the name Tencent gives me
Shivers.
Shivers, yes, chills. But the fact they're working with xCloud and NVIDIA on incorporating the cloud platforms, honestly, I think it has the potential to be something great. I don't trust Tencent one bit to not monetize the hell out of it and charge you extra to be able to use it or something crazy. But we'll see. How about you guys? What do you think it's going to be like?
For me, I think this machine has to be always on the internet because it's cloud gaming. So if you're in a place that has no signal or you don't have a signal, then how are you going to play? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Ben, would you get something like this?
No, absolutely not. I'm against everything this stands for. Not so strongly. I should kind of reel it in a little bit.
Logitech or Tencent?
I love Logitech. I hate Tencent. so it's like a love-hate relationship there. But no, I don't. Mobile gaming is not. Wait, isn't it going to be a mobile? It's a mobile. It's a handheld. It's going to be a
handheld device.
Mobile. Yeah. So like,
I think it's going to be closer to like a cloud-based, like what are those GeForce rigs called again?
Shields. The Shields.
So I think it's going to be more like a Shield than anything, but just branded by Logitech.
Yeah, no, not for me. What I will say is that I can imagine. Well, I'd like to think the product that's going to come out of this collaboration is going to be very well. I'd like to think it's going to be very well made because I'd imagine the funding is going to be insane for it. With the amount of money behind Tencent, yeah, we'll see.
The thing for me is I think this could potentially push Xbox cloud gaming and NVIDIA GeForce Now into more people's homes.
Yeah,
and it could, for people that don't want to buy an Xbox or a PlayStation or pay a lot of money for a heavy gaming PC. I mean, cloud is the way, but this all boils down to connectivity, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you don't have a connection, you can't play.
And
so
that's the thing. That's a good point because it's kind of a double-edged sword there, is because it could appeal to the casual gamer a lot more, but then is the casual gamer going to have a strong enough internet connectivity to use something like this? It's quite yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, right now it's just called Logitech G Gaming handheld, not given a proper name, but I guess it'll be a good few years before we see anything. Now, Jabba, you were telling me about this earlier. Uber receipts crashing Outlook.
Something about complex tables just breaking Outlook. It's really bizarre that Outlook of all places would have this issue. They've got a patch coming on August 9th, but I don't know how this managed to get out there, get out in the wild and break machines or break the app.
I mean, just imagine if you open up Outlook and all you have is your Uber Eats receipt or your Uber taxi ride receipt, and it just crashes Outlook as soon as you open Outlook.
Okay. So is it if you have your Uber, the email client you use, the email address attached, when you automatically get sent a receipt for whatever it may be, a trip or Uber Eats or whatever, if you use Outlook as a client, it will crash it when automatically sent to it. Is that
Yeah,
right?
basically.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so as soon as you open it up and it sees this email, it will just crash Outlook. So yeah, not great. But
Do you guys remember a couple years ago where like if you got sent a text, I think on iPhones in Arabic or something, your phone will just die, like it will just crash your phone.
I remember that.
Probably
Yeah.
something weird like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Payload
I mean,
overload or something crazy.
I mean, it is crazy, but you would have thought somebody would have tested that, didn't you? You know, wouldn't you? But hey, it is what it is. So yeah, if you've got any Uber receipts, open them up in your default iPhone mail app or something. Don't use Outlook. Is what we're saying for the time being. But yeah, the fix is around the corner. Now, Ben, you're a music guy. TikTok music service.
Oh God. Is it gonna just be like 7-second clips of songs? No full songs.
No, well, yeah, I know, but how many music services do we need out there?
I know it's too much. I mean, to be fair, I mean, this is kind of straying away from the subject of TikTok creating one potentially, but Spotify, which I do use as a primary, that is, that's the music streaming service I use, really dropping the ball. I feel like as a whole, the music streaming industry, they're so behind. I mean, how often do you hear about new features implemented in apps or updates where things are, UI changes or any kind of innovation is non-existent in terms of the music streaming service. The only kind of difference we have here is Tidal doing the high fidelity audio, but other than that, I mean, what else does the platform? It's kind of like they know they've got the market and they're just
I'll ask you a question. I mean, isn't it more if it's not broken, don't fix it? I really can't think of anything else I'd want from Spotify. Like the craziest thing they've done for me is just give me a curated playlist, and Snooper's playing on Apple Music. They've got playlists for different moods as well, which is pretty cool. Like it's pretty cool idea on paper. But for me, just being able to have the songs at my fingertips is more than enough. Like, yeah,
that's true.
The kind of listener I am.
I am expecting too much. The reliability is definitely
no, but hang on, right? Apple Music has Dolby Atmos sound or spatial music, or you have a higher fidelity lossless, and Spotify don't have that. They've been saying for over a year and a half that this service is going to come out.
Yeah, that's not good enough. That's not good. I mean, as a music streaming service, audio quality should be at the top of, the top of the priority list. Yeah, it's a shame, but I do use it every single day and it never fails me. So I can't really complain. That's what I'm using it for. But at the same time, it would be nice to see some innovation.
Well, I've got a lot of them. So I've got Amazon, I've got Spotify, I've got Apple, and throughout all of them, the only reason why I like Spotify more is because I can run it on literally any device that I have. Unlike Apple, you're kind of tied to a handful of devices. Same with Amazon. So I do agree with you. I do think Spotify need to do a little more to move forwards. Now, the next news, cellular service coming to New York subways. It's going to take 10 years to actually complete, but I didn't realize they didn't have phone signal down in the subways for New York.
Yeah, because from what you see, a lot of the New York subway is overground, right? From what I see, I've not personally been to New York myself. Maybe I'm talking rubbish here, but from what you see in TV and movies and stuff, that it's depicted as being quite open, the subway. So that is surprising.
I mean, I don't understand why it would take 10 years. Wouldn't you just put something that's more internet related and just do Wi-Fi calling?
Yeah, it's very interesting, and it leads me on to the topic I always refer to when we talk about the London transport system, is that we still don't have it here. It's unbelievable.
But it's rolling out within 2 years for us. We're going to have it in 2 years.
They say that. I've been hearing this for such a long time. I would be a millionaire if every time I've been told we'll have it here. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Barcelona has a very good signal. I remember going to Barcelona a few years ago and going on their subway system and having 5G throughout.
Oh, wow.
We are really behind. Yeah.
That is amazing. Oh, okay. Well, I'd love to go to Barcelona. I've not been there. I've been told to go there. I'd hate to live in Indonesia right now.
Oh no.
I basically they've blocked Steam, PayPal, and other services because they missed a deadline to register with the government in time. I mean, yeah, they won't be playing any Steam games anytime soon or make PayPal payments. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I just find it really weird that a government would just block services like this.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know more about this particular scenario, but I mean, it's kind of a good thing that Indonesia are taking their if it's privacy related and data related, they're taking it seriously. That's quite a good thing. Obviously, sucks for the average person who wants to play games on Steam, but at least they're serious about it. Whatever it may be.
But what I want to know is, how is PayPal something that would be unlawful or a threat to public order, unless you're funding terrorists? I'm not too sure, but
it must be more to do with like data protection, right? I can't imagine it would be.
I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
Well, for anybody that is listening in Indonesia, I do feel sorry for you out there not being able to start Steam or use PayPal and using
to the Pirate Bay, I think. Back to the Pirate Bay. People in Indonesia.
Cool. Okay, I've spoken about online game streaming a lot. I spoke about how amazing Stadia was when it first began, and then Google dropped the ball. And there's a list. There's actually a website out there that shows what Google have started and killed
off.
And I really thought Stadia was one of those things they're going to kill off, but they've actually come out saying, no, we're not going to close down the Stadia gaming service.
Didn't they say the exact same thing about Google Plus, though? Their sort of Hangout service. They said the exact same thing, and then 2 weeks later they shut it off. So I wouldn't trust this too much.
No, I mean, I tried out Stadia in front of you, didn't I, Javid? And it was really decent. I still think it's the best game streaming service out there, but they've really lost they've dropped it. I don't understand. I mean, I have a friend who works at EA Games, and he's literally turned around saying the reason why some of the games on their streaming platform is because Google themselves have turned around saying, for example, no, we don't want FIFA, we want Madden. And EA are like, but we can give you FIFA. And they're like, no, we don't want FIFA, we want Madden. It's really weird.
That's an interesting choice.
That is a very strange choice.
Yeah.
Are they trying to find their niche? Maybe that's it.
Yeah, so if there's a game that you really want and Google are like, no, we don't want it, it will never be on their streaming service because they're like, no, we don't want it. It's a really odd model by Google. And if anybody from Google is listening to this podcast, what are you lot playing at? Seriously, it's like you had it and then you completely dropped the ball.
Yeah.
What do you think it was, though? Because for me, I think it was just the advertisements. No, like they did not.
There was nothing. There was nothing out there to tell people Stadia existed. They just had their Google I/O conference, which again, very boring. If you ever watch their announcements for Google products or the new phones, it is the most boring thing that you'll ever watch. There's no excitement. There's no nothing. They're just super dry.
That is something Apple are good at, to be fair. Apple are really good at announcing new things and new products. But yeah, I think it's in the same way I talked about music streaming services, game streaming services. I haven't heard anything for like the past 2 years from anyone, really. Don't get me wrong, new titles being added all the time, but unless you're already in that world, you don't nobody cares about that. They need to find a way to capture the audience.
No, I think what it is if it's Xbox Game Cloud, for example, that service is given to you. So, for example, if I turn on my Xbox and I want to play a game, I actually don't need to download it. I could just stream it there and then if it's part of the catalog, which I quite like. Yeah. But again, it depends on internet connectivity. So, if you don't have an internet connection, you're kind of screwed. But hey, right. So, some other technical news. So, researchers. Biofilm, capable of producing long-term continuous electricity from your sweat.
Love it. Powering your smart devices.
There's no way that's a real picture. We should put the picture. Oh, we can't really put the picture on screen. But if you Google what Snoop just said there, you'll see the article we're looking at here now. And oh my, in
Well, I
Terminator
mean,
news,
if sweat can generate electricity, that's great. There's only one problem with it. What if you don't sweat all the time?
yeah,
And a bit controversial here, and I'm sorry for saying this, right? Prince Andrew.
I knew you was going to say it. I was going to say it myself.
That guy never sweats, so anything like this would never work.
Yeah, they should have definitely looped him in on the beta testing. Prince Andrew. Okay, yeah. I'm glad you said it. I was going to say it myself, but I'm glad you did.
No. I mean, I'm just thinking that people don't sweat all the time, so if you're not sweating, this would probably die. However, what's really interesting is somebody's managed to make a disposable paper battery that lasts for 2 hours.
Paper battery. Wow.
It's paper
not
battery.
A fire hazard. That can't be a fire hazard. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, you just put a drop of water and it activates this paper to give you 1.2 volts of energy, where a normal battery is 1.5 for about an hour, and then dumps down to 0.5 volts for the next hour. I mean, this could be great as an emergency battery for something if you're out and about. Like you just put your own spit on there, it will activate the battery, and you can just send a signal to say I'm in distress somewhere because it has enough voltage to power something.
I mean, if you're carrying that, you can carry a battery. It's just,
yeah.
Like, in which case is this useful? That's what I'm trying to figure out. In what situation
I've got
not have like a spare battery?
Very specific use case. What about a sprinkler system in a building? That's a good one. I don't know if they're battery up. I don't know what those systems are, how they're powered at all. I'd imagine it's some kind of crazy mainline connection, but yeah, it's cool. Do we need it? I don't know.
I don't know, but then I'm now thinking, but then the problem is that you can't really recharge it. So I don't know. It's a one use only. I'm sure there will be something. Now this is more exciting for me for wearables and for watches that harvest thermal energy. It's better than sweat. It's better than water. It's your body thermal energy. I mean, for wearables, I think that's great if you can charge your device less, but then your body temperature or your thermals will keep a watch going, even if it's in low power mode, for example.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That is a technology I'd love to see in wearables, because it does feel weird to even for me to this day. You know, I'm a big fan of watches, horology, right? But wearing
that word, sorry?
Horology. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Horology.
I've never heard of it. What is it?
It's just the art form, I guess, behind creating watches. Just watches as a whole. Like, yeah, I should have known what that means before I used it. To be completely honest, I will Google it as I'm speaking right now. Horology.
Sorry, I put you on the spot now. I was just very interested in knowing that
word. Ruined and
and
called me out there. Don't worry, we're not on a podcast or anything. Horology. Horology is a study of the measurement of time, clocks, watches, clockwork, sundials, etc. But it just relates to timekeeping devices, horology, and a lot of people who really are into watches say they're into horology because it applies to more than just watches themselves, but timekeeping devices, stopwatches, that kind of thing. But being really into watches and automatic watches and stuff like that, wearing a watch that I have to charge still doesn't sit right with me, even though I've owned multiple. So tech like that. Are
you more of an analog or a digital guy when it comes to watches then?
Analog for sure. Don't get me wrong, I have both, but analog, yeah, for sure.
Watches are cool. I don't really tend to wear watches, I'm not gonna lie, but they do look cool on the right people. I don't think I can pull them off.
Anyone can pull off a watch. Anyone can pull off a watch. There's so many different types of watches out there.
Do you know what? I really wanted the Swatch and the Omega crossover.
What a beautiful collaboration. Wow.
Oh man, I missed out on it.
Yeah, because the prices, have you seen the resale prices on those?
Oh
my
God,
goodness.
yeah.
They're
Thousands,
unbelievable.
Thousands.
Yeah, thousands
Oh,
and
wow.
thousands. And retail, they were a few hundred, I think, 300,
Yeah.
400.
Yeah, they were
Don't quote me.
$3.99. Yeah, I was actually out away on a holiday and I tried to key up for it and couldn't get a hold of one. I was just,
Yeah,
but then you know
yeah.
what really shocked me? They had them on the display and I said, "Can I buy the display one?" And they were like, "No." I was like,
Oh.
"Oh my God, really?"
That's annoying. Yeah.
It was
Normally
annoying.
they
It-
would and just give you some kind of discounted price.
yeah, but no, they didn't. Gutted about that. All right, so conjoined twins separated with the help of virtual reality. Basically, they did a scan of the twins that were joined by the head, and the doctors used the scans in a virtual reality thing to kind of simulating what they needed to do to separate them, and then when they went to the actual op, they did it. I
Like
mean,
kind of
what
like
is your views of this? I mean,
a
I mean,
practice run.
yeah, a practice run digitally.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really cool. Honestly, I'm happy to see virtual reality is actually getting real use cases. I mean, it's had it for ages now, but seeing it more in the mainstream is really cool. Maybe more adoption will be on the way now.
I mean, it's good that they can use VR or AR to help assist with things like that. And I think for me, I've always said technology should be something to help enhance things, not take over things. So if you can help do stuff, that's great stuff. The next thing is Ben's favorite football club
Lovely.
accepting Bitcoin payments. Okay, guys, what's your views on Bitcoin or digital currency? I mean, we've not really spoken about digital currency much.
We haven't on this podcast, but outside of this podcast, it is what's the saying? It's like beating a dead horse, right? Talking about digital currency. I'm on board. I'm not against it. Just don't ask me what my opinions are of NFTs and them creeping and crawling their way into things like games and oh man.
100%.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan there. Digital currency, I'm all for it. It's unfortunately one of those things that comes and goes in waves, and you'll have one person saying the whole world should be using this as their primary currency, and then when it falls, they're against it. It's an awkward conversation, to be honest. But yeah, I'm all for it. But I want to know how they're using it here. Oxford City Football Club to accept Bitcoin. Is that like for the players? They're going to play their players?
No. So they're getting fans to pay so they can buy tickets to watch the game.
Honestly, I'm for it. More adoption is always good there. Ben, I am the former person there. I think it is the future. It's just the future's a long way away, I think.
Yeah.
A very long way away.
Yeah, I think I think the only thing for me is actually there is another interesting podcast somewhere else, and I'll find the link, but they talk about how physical currency is so important still versus digital. I don't know. I think we are a long way away. I think they've got so much to iron out. In terms of security as well, I think it needs to have more, because as soon as quantum computing's out, they'll crack everything. So I think it's definitely a long way out. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm with Ben on this one. I'm not fully behind it. I like the idea, but I don't think the idea is properly fleshed out.
I still think it's one of those things that could go either way. In 50 years time, we could look back and go, my God, what a mistake that was. And all these things that were purchased or transactions that were made using it, people were regretting things, or it could be the other way completely. I think it makes sense as technology develops to lean more towards it, but it's just one of those things. I don't think we're close yet. We're nowhere near close.
Right. So a guy in the US T-Mobile store guilty of using stolen credentials to unlock hundreds and thousands of cell phones. He actually made $25 million for himself by doing that.
Wow.
Obviously he was found guilty. But yeah, he used tactics to get employees' credentials to unlock phones, phishing emails, social engineering. I mean, this guy was the ultimate bad guy, wasn't he, really? If you think about it. But that's crazy, and that's quite scary that somebody can make so much money from our data.
But I don't understand, what exactly did he make the money from? So it says here that he made millions unlocking T-Mobile phones with stolen passwords. So he was getting credentials from T-Mobile employees, unlocking phones and selling the phones. What exactly was he doing?
More or less. That's what he did. So they'll have like a T-Mobile might have an activation lock or something like that. He'll get the password, unlock that with somebody else's password, and then
maybe charge that as a service, like unlocking. Okay.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's a lot of
money.
He
owned a store as well. That's crazy. He actually used that to be able to get everything out there.
To fund the
That's
store.
a long con. Yeah.
So he's made quite a bit of money, which I'm sure he's now lost. But still, that is that's quite scary. But apparently,
look at some of his purchases at the bottom.
What? Oh, let's have a look. So he bought himself a property in California. Oh, here we go. A watch.
My favorite watch ever, Royal Oak, AP Royal Oak, one of the best watches ever made, I think, personally.
Okay. A Land Rover. I don't know why you wouldn't just buy a straight out, like more fancier cars. Well, he did lease a Ferrari. Why wouldn't you just buy a Ferrari?
S63 AMG, Mercedes-Benz, very nice car.
But still, what he did was wrong, though. So,
of course.
This one's really funny. Yeah, the last bit. So basically, there's a guy named Gary Bowser that was sent to prison and charged $1 million for selling mods for Nintendo Switch. The fact that he's called Bowser.
Gary Bowser.
Yeah. So there we go. I'm sure Mario was happy when he was sent to jail. Now this one's a scary one. Hackers stealing passwords from a lot of payment terminals using malware.
Terminals.
Yeah, so when you have these payment terminals, wireless contactless ones. So when you pay, apparently your credit card is going on this contactless payment system to make payment, or you put it in there. And because a lot of these payment systems run Android, they've managed to get malware on this particular payment system and steal loads of credit cards. I mean, credit card details. I mean, how do you pay?
Credit card details make sense, but it says there that they stole passwords. And I was thinking, are they stealing passwords from outside of your banking application or like anything other than it? I mean, it makes sense for them to steal the credit card information, but not passwords. That's interesting.
I'm not too sure. I'm having a quick look, but
I think it was the employees' passwords for like whoever's running these payment systems. Maybe I don't know how they got their credentials, but
basically the hackers was able to gain back-end access, install programs, create user accounts, take data. I mean, they could do anything with that, can't they? So that is quite scary, and it's going to make me want to use cash more rather than anything else. So we're coming back to that thing of, do you trust digital, contactless? I mean, the chip and pin system was hacked within a couple of days before its launch. So even though we had this chip and pin thing, I don't think people realized that it wasn't as secure come day one. They thought it was going to be more secure, but it ended up to being less secure. So
that's always the problem when you introduce any kind of internet connectivity and whatnot, right? It's always the case.
Right. This is for you two. NVIDIA's 4070 Ti could rival the 3090 Ti at half the price. Now, if people out there don't understand, it's a graphics card for gaming that you put in a PC, and the 3090 Ti is the best out there. So if you want the best experience, the most frame rates, the most beautiful looking thing on a monitor,
the most damage to your wallet.
Most damage to your wallet for sure. But a 4070 Ti, I mean, to outdo a 30, do we need this much horsepower
for 4K gaming?
Yeah,
definitely.
That's exactly my fault. I still feel like 4K gaming isn't there personally.
Yeah, but I can.
Hang
on. I disagree. I can play F1 2022 4K above 60 frames per second.
Yeah, we need more. I need 120, 144 hertz. That's what I want. Until I see that, I'm as soon as we get games running in 4K, good games, AAA title games running in 4K, at the average monitor refresh rate, which nowadays is about 144 hertz. When we see that, that's when I say, let's stop. Come on, guys, just slow down. NVIDIA, invest your money into something else. But it'd be interesting to know how much the 4070 Ti is going to be retail. That is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'll be surprised if we see a 40 series this year, because they hardly sold their 30 series. But you never know. Crazy things have happened.
Yeah.
Now, the whole faking and fudging emissions have come back. Toyota are in trouble this time round. So they have a truck brand called Hino. Never heard of them.
Me neither.
But apparently for the last 20 years, they've been faking emission data for 20 years. I mean,
that's terrible. Wasn't it Volkswagen that did the same thing? Who was it?
It was Volkswagen. Yeah, it was Dieselgate, wasn't it? Where they're saying their diesels were much nicer, but it actually polluted more.
God damn.
Aren't there like regulatory bodies for this? Like, how do you get away with 20 years of this? Do they not get like, I don't know, third parties coming in to do the testing as well? Do they just like, oh, that's fine. If you say it's that, it's that.
I would say this is how they got away with it. This is normally the case, unfortunately. A lot of really nice dinners at hotels. That's what I'm going to say. A lot of really nice meetings and money under the table. Yeah, I don't want to accuse, but normally that is the case, unfortunately, with these things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're going to get a spanky fine. But so this now makes Volkswagen, Nissan, Subaru, Mazda, and Suzuki lie. I mean, the top two brands they generally say is Japanese and German.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this is not a good look, is it?
That's not a good look for the Japanese automotive industry. No way.
No, it's not. But at the same time, emissions matter, because now we've got these low emission zones coming up in London everywhere.
Yeah.
Which I still don't understand. I need to educate myself on that.
I think it's just another way for more money, personally. I don't know. Yeah, the recent ULEZ zone got expanded, didn't it? And that was quite close to where I previously lived. So there are people I know who have had to sell their cars, get cars that meet the requirements, and if they didn't, they'll be charged a daily fee for just having it parked outside their house. It's kind of crazy, to be honest.
Have you guys had those zones where like it's just residential only, like cars aren't allowed to go down at all? I don't know if you have them spinning around yours.
Yeah, I've seen them. I don't think they're anywhere near me on my part of London, but I have seen them. Yeah, crazy.
Those are really bizarre. My dad's had many letters come home saying you've driven down here when you shouldn't have, because like they have one sign at the beginning of the road, so you don't know, and then you get a fine like 2 weeks later. It's just
it's ridiculous. It's so cheeky how they do it too. They make these tiny little road signs that you have to stop and read the text. I mean, how dangerous is that? First of all, just stop in the middle of the road and start reading a road. So, yeah, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
It is, and I think getting around is it's a bit of an issue when they start doing stuff like that. But I guess they're thinking about being more environmentally friendly. But I don't know how it works.
Yeah,
I'm going to be honest. They need to, again, good idea, not well.
Even then, it's like they're pushing the incentive to use an electric vehicle, right? But even electric vehicles have charges and fines when it comes to driving in London too. So it's like there's no incentive to get rid of the petrol or the diesel car that you own and go for an electric vehicle, because electric vehicles also have these, albeit not as hefty, but they also have these charges that you have to pay. So it is yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is now, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's great for the environment. But when we suck up more electricity, how are you generating that electricity?
Yeah, still
like, are we burning more coal? Are we doing, I know they want to get more solar power, wind power, but are we fully at that point? No. And then you got nuclear power, which is, again, very complex and dangerous. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think, yes, we're doing something good generally, but there is something else that someone's doing wrong, which still has the same impact somewhere else. So, it's a bit all over the place. I don't know. I guess the future is going to be interesting in terms of vehicles and traveling, yeah, we just got to wait and see how it all pans out. But guys, do you have anything else funny or interesting or anything that's caught your eyes recently?
I don't. I think we've covered quite a few topics today.
Yeah.
Quite a few interesting ones, good ones.
Yeah, we have. And make sure if you sweat, get some, Shore for Men or something, and use that, or Axe or Lynx, and yeah, your device won't work. But no, thanks guys. This has been another great episode, and thank you to all the listeners listening in. And yeah, we're definitely going to do this weekly. And we hope you like our new podcast name and the new logo, which looks amazing, I have to admit. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's been great, guys, and yeah, to everybody out there, we'll obviously come with new news coming out every week, and we'll definitely have to do that special podcast that we mentioned about safeguarding your digital data. So I think that will be an interesting one. So we'll definitely release that soon. But yeah, until next week, have a good one.
Okay.